head over into Miramar for our second dose of desert today. Match number 5 about to kick off. Planes into the sky from west to east, heading down a little bit south leaning, but should be cutting fairly central across the majority of the map. So for Miramar, as far as this goes, fairly kind.
Yeah, this is a much easier playing path for a lot of these teams to work with, especially if you want to head up towards La Cobraria early on, means you get those vehicles up towards Trailer Park, even head all the way over towards Torre Armada through this northern side of the map, as opposed to waiting until you get over towards Graveyard / Minas Generalis. So yeah, much easier playing path to work with here. Towards the end of the day, we only have one more match to go after this one. It will be back over to Erangel, so keeping our classics on the cards here, John, which is nice to see. Out of the plane, most teams have dropped out so far. MadBulls heading up towards Crater Fields, which is much more typical for that team anyway, alongside with S2G. Last game on Miramar, they were dropping down towards Los Leones, holding that alongside the guys from I8. Wasn't ideal for them, didn't get themselves the biggest game out of it, but we might see a little bit more success for them now that they've got some momentum rolling.
Momentum can be crucial at a time like this. Hard southeast circle shift flank. This is not ideal for quite a few of these teams. Cuts out a lot of playable ground in the first circle. Yeah,
I mean, that's a Shrek circle I've ever saw one, because it's pretty ugly, to say the least. I mean, you're over on this eastern side of the map.
Whoa, don't be doing my boy Shrek like that.
Look, man, he knows it himself. You know, you just got to find someone that loves him equally as
beauty
ugly
is what's
as
in
him.
what's on the inside, and what's on the inside of the circle right now is Impala. So
and layers.
Those teams are feeling pretty happy. That's right, layers of Impala.
Layers of Impala. That's right. But yeah, we do have a very heavy eastern shift on this circle with a ton of water at play as well. So with this circle, will be slowly moving more and more central. You are going to have a case where this is more than likely going to have water in it for quite some time. So teams like Buriram, United Esports, as well as you guys from Team K, so you're going to be fairly happy with this one, as they're already set up in the position where they're more than likely going to finish out this map. There is a lot of high ground in this area to play around with, specifically up towards Impala as well, if you're heading over towards that eastern coastal side. And being here early on gives you a lot of that potential. We saw a very similar circle to like this over in the Americas Championships, in which case Influence Chemin came down from El Azahar and kind of stayed out of the fight for a long, long while, all the way on that eastern coastal side, and then ended up taking the victory on that very final game for themselves from very, very late entry towards the circle. And this is just a case of playing the time right, being patient and waiting for that opportune moment, essentially.
Titan over in Valle de Mar, really uncontested. Closest team, emTek Storm in Chumacera. So that south coast rotate potentially quite open for them to make. No scraps going on just now across the rest of the map either. 4 rivals potentially even heading out further north, away from the circle towards Cruz de Valle, as emTek Storm looting up in Churrasera on the south side.
Yeah, it's a real nice spread of teams at the moment. We're not having those early engagements as we saw in that last Miramar. And this is also a case of what you would expect to happen on the second Miramar of the day. Is a lot of these teams getting a feel for one another, where their rotations were coming through, especially at this global standard, where you would expect teams to have a rough idea, at least of the teams that would be surrounding them, how they'd like to play that match out. For some of these teams, on the other hand, they don't have that same luxury, though, especially with, you know, some of those drop spots that they are likely to take. I mean, I'll just take the obvious one off the bat, which is MadBulls up towards La Cobraria. This is not a position that they were able to play last time around, so weren't able to get the lay of the land in terms of rotations around them. So again, this is more than likely going to be a bit of a quiet start for MadBulls. But again, a lot of these teams will be just slowly making their way over towards the circle, knowing that with how hard of a shift it is down towards the southeast, they have a rough idea where this is going to end up.
Should be fairly slow going for the time being right now, Blank. I imagine probably going to be waiting a couple minutes before we see those first engagements start to pop off. Influence Chemin regaining their position at the top after that last game. Nigma Galaxy falling just a little bit, but there was a clear top 3 at the start of the previous game. Now that has been a little bit assuaged with Buriram following up to 42, Bigetron on 40, MadBulls even on 36. They're sort of challenging, but still there is definitely that clear divide between Titan Nigma Galaxy, Influence Chemin, and the rest.
Yeah, it felt a little bit weird towards the start of the day with, having so many points invested at the top of the leaderboard and then it getting a little bit weird down towards the bottom. But you are right. We are having that divide now, but the divide is coming through a lot more evenly, right? If you look at the numbers at the moment, we are having that steady ladder as we head up the rankings. BTR, though, spot out S2G. Misery starts to fight out, but Silas doesn't take too much damage and not enough damage either. Misery might just be able to find some cheeky shots, though, and there's one of them. And the second!
Lines them up, knocks them down, bowls them for spare. Hamzy potentially next up. Silas is there as well. In comes the backup. Misery will get naded, but in comes the cavalry. Jim Foster slowest, but Luxy and Zuxy, the twins, a terrible twosome. Going to be halved there with another nade from Hamzy as S2G holding out their position very, very well after a poor start, but they're turning it around. Jem Foster on that flank, moving in with Zuxy now. Needs to operate effectively. Kelsey will be flushed. Hamzy and Silas still penned on in. Bigetron playing as 2 with 4 in the pocket. Hamzy and Silas looking for some heals, but it doesn't look like they have too much to be playing with. Silas low, not healing up. Hamzy popped a bandage, what looked like there. The nade falls out around the side. A flush over onto Ray-Z. The blank wall, not giving any windows, no angles. And Bigetron are going to fall back to try and go for the res. Caught on the cross. Hamzy spotted, but makes it.
Yeah, I think it's DRS taking shots from behind. I think this is a smart decision from BTR. They understand that maybe they want to pick up some of these knocks that are on the floor. Misery is slowly starting to bleed out. S2G don't really give them much time, though, and immediately move up. So, they're not done with this engagement as of yet.
Luxy crawling to safety, Misery res there. They're playing for safety. Luxy not there. Zuxy down. You need to respond now if you want to keep your teammates alive. They will lose one, but S2G fall. Bigetron staying alive. Zuxy trapped out in the open, actually getting flushed on out as well as Agonxi8 will be able to plink away a couple of shots, bring Bigetron down to 2.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate engagement with DRS as well as I8 having all eyes onto this engagement. Moving to the other side of the compound to try and pick up some safety from anywhere, really. Understand that DRS were taking shots at them from that northern side, but then they have to worry about the south. So I think for BTR, this is just unfortunate overall. Good engagement to start off with. Misery obviously pulling something magical out of the bag there.
Nade over the top. Over towards Misery's downed form. Jim Foster trying to play off against 4. A tall order to be sure. Not sure he's up to it, but spray for 1, spray for 2. Jim Foster starts off well, but goes for the points and the flushes instead of trying to find that third. I feel like he had a good shot on that third as well. It's a little bit too big for the boots. Gets bonked.
Yeah, honestly, I felt like the third was very much available. I don't think he even gets greedy there. I think he's like, right, I need to just go for the place for the point here, get the elimination on board. But that is the quote-unquote correct play. But I think with the way that he'd handled a lot of that engagement, a lot of those fights, maybe he could have just gone, complete sicko mode and gone for the 1v4, which it really did feel like it could happen. Next circle, very, very big shrink on the circle here over towards the side. Very much an Impala finish now. Nigma Galaxy lost a player to MadBulls as they're rotating down from water treatment.
Wow, wow, wow. The circles giving us an exciting day today. About 40% water in this next one. As things start to slow down. After that brief engagement, that brief pop-off, MadBulls maybe still in some trouble, but the Infinity, they've moved just a little bit closer on and maybe going to be running into the back of emTek Storm. If they go too much further, but they should be able to scout that. They're nice and spaced. They have got that split, but looks like they're going to sail underneath the view of emTek Storm there.
Yeah, I mean, the Infinity is a massive oddball in this lobby at the moment. First place in Fall, Thai League. Obviously, they'd also took the PUBG Mobile Regional Clash, take first place there, and also the first place in the Southeast Asia Championship. The fact that they're currently on 12 points and already have lost a player is such a weird turn of events, in my opinion.
Yeah, for first day, this is not the performance you expect from a region champion. You want more from them because this is just one slice of the lobby, and it's not even the big group, right? So if they're not able to stand up here, do they have a shot against other teams? Of course, it is only day one, but this is, as you say, not looking hopeful.
I mean, they're already at risk of just being dropped from PMGC entirely. They're in that bottom 5 at the moment and haven't been able to put up too many points. And you look at that, though, it's 13, 12, 12, 12. LGD, Team Queso, the Infinity, RA, all struggling massively. Able to pick up a few eliminations here and there, but that's really about it, where, you know, a lot of the story is being told at the top of the table at the moment.
That top 3 defined for now, with a 16-point buffer between Nigma Galaxy and Bigetron, which won't move too much further unless Buriram... Actually, hang on a minute. Buriram will be above. No, they won't. Hang on a minute, because the elims get added on. Okay, I'm getting confused here. But Buriram down in 5th with 42, sat about 12 points behind, or 14 points behind that 3rd place. This early on, that's quite a large buffer. That's basically a full game's worth of play.
Yeah, they're happy at the moment. But MadBulls have made their way in on the top of Minas Generalis, playing very much edge play style. Didn't want to get too far into it. Again, I think that for Nigma Galaxy, they went for the safe play.
Goodness me. I was seeing a Goomba stomp in action going on there. LGD will be able to roll over the top of the hill, find Buriram. Certainly one of the players. Kengzo goes down, 3 alive now for their strikeout to break that top 3 barrier.
Anyways, like I was saying, you know, Nigma Galaxy went for the safe play up towards that northeast side to move down through the rows towards influence Chemin, LGD, but it gives you a lot more time to stay out of the action. MadBulls instead taking the approach of a very open ground, and again, already taking a knock there from R8, just, you know, it shows how exposed that position, that ingress is. So they will group restabilize and try and make something out of this engagement, but losing another there, goodness me.
Pressure from 4 rivals. You've got Agonxi8 as well, right around the corner. Nade in. Volky backed off. Low. Scry rezzed right now, getting rezzed. They don't want to go for this push. For last player, you don't want to be running into 3 or even 2. Those sight lines with Trisme out the hill as well. You've got to be very, very worried now, especially when the door next to you gets blown off its hinges. And the nade blows you up as well. Will fall down. 14th place for 4 rivals. They had a good start, but it feels like they're trailing a little bit.
Yeah, it's slowly falling off. All right, Bandar does go down now. Prestige all on his lonesome. Zerich looking to battle off against this. Only 2 players up and standing, looking to bring Skills back into the fold as R8 has moved back together as a unit. Started this engagement as just 2 players as MadBulls moved in, but a very nice nade to open this one up meant that MadBulls went down to just the 3. This could be a good nade from Monkey. He's insane when it comes to nades.
Perfectly placed there, right over the wall. Bandar rezzed down again. 7 Prestige. SK turn up the top as well. For R8, they're playing as this 3-man unit lining up on the wall for Monkey to try and get that spray angle. SK not moving around to try and suppress it as well. Allows Zerich to fall out the door. Will be able to find that forward knock. 2 players down now for R8, but 2 down for MadBulls in response. SK now into the fight, but super, super low. 2 players for MadBulls down, leaving Monkey alone. Doesn't have any nades to lob on through, because that could have been devastating. Looking for the reses instead. Nades now coming out from SK Turn around the side of the building, puts it down the wall line, and that's pretty good, but it's behind the pillar. Only finds 1, but that res is going to be really, really risky. I don't think you're going to want to go for it. SK Turn with another nade on the inside. Finds the second flush, and that's the 3rd coming in for Prestige to find Monkey.
Yeah, they started this fight out with a grenade to take down effect, and they finished this fight out with some excellent place ones as well. I mean, that fight looked like it could have gone very topsy-turvy, and Zerich maybe overplayed his hand there, moving out and trying to take the player that was behind the boxes, behind the crates. So MadBulls suffer because they don't take that safe play up towards that north edge. In the meantime, Nigma Galaxy, who passed by them, lost one player to them early, have made their way in towards Impala. Now R8 can start to make their stint down this way as well. We won't be having an island finish, unfortunately, but we do have these tall mountains that are still in play. Buriram holding on to a little bit of it, but LGD do still have masses of high ground to play around with.
A lot of space as it zones onto them as well. So it's LGD's chance to launch themselves from the bottom of the tables as well. Get into a more comfortable position towards the end of the day.
Yeah, only 3 players though. It's not a lot to play off the sidelines of one another, and if one of you goes down on that top side, it's even less likely you're going to get a res available. So they will have to play their cards tight to the chest here at the end of the game. The Infinity already out. 12 points once again. Still sat at the bottom, not able to pick up a single point on this game. It really is a very much wild card for me.
Banda hiding behind the crate. The shot backs him off, but has got a vehicle, getting shot out in the meantime. Smoke is there. I think he's thinking about getting in. Takes a bullet for it. Repositions, tries to hide the wheels, but don't think you're getting away from here without... Has 5 of them. And fully level 3, so potentially looking to razz it on up. No, the buggy comes in for the rescue. They get in, and they're going to bug straight out.
Max over here, taking shots from Buriram. This is what the high ground affords you. Gives you a lot of positions to be able to just take shots down towards any players that are out in the open. And look how much ground this one singular spot covers. There is potential to take shots back up towards him. Very hard to shimmy back out of the way, but that's why you angle yourself like this, so you can just turn, turret. It gives you a lot of cover. So well played there to Buriram to set all this up. Give them a lot of position to play in. Again, this is very influenced Chemin-like, though. You can see, you can't see them right now, but you might just be able to catch a quick glimpse of them up on the top right of your screen. They are the pinky purple team, I guess. Pinky
Magenta,
red, pinky
mauve.
red. Let's say pink. Yeah, let's say magenta.
Like I don't
yeah,
even know.
they're
I don't think it's magenta. I have no idea.
Maybe not. Anyway. You know what I'm saying? They're very top right team. But this is very influenced Chemin of them because they will play on this edge of the map for a very long time and just remain safe. And as for, especially with the amount of players that can be breaking against one another on this map and the amount of times, you know, 2 boxing rings will be set up and they'll go at it. You know, influence Chemin just looking to keep 4 members alive as long as possible and then pick up the pieces at the end of the game.
Next circle will be dictating a lot of the pace of the next. And his zones again onto the hill. LGD with that big chance. Buriram as well. With the high ground suppression onto all of these teams in Impala. Luckily, they don't have to leave it just yet. So they have a little bit more time to play around with. Influence Chemin. Sitting pretty.
And unlike a lot of our other circles, at this point in time, with these next few circles centering up more and more with a lot more space within them, it is very unlikely that Buriram or LGD will have to leave this position too early. So getting up here nice, very, very quickly at the beginning of the game gives them a huge amount of control going forward. I think both teams will be very sad that they lost a player at the start and down to 3 each, because this could have been a much more dominant game if they're able to hold on to 4.
It is unfortunate, but sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Buriram on the western side of it also going to be able to hold out. Similar situation for them, 3 players. Titan southwest making their push in straight past Team Queso. Reyes will find the knock, and the spray down will be coming in from Papi Patro. Spray over towards Puncher, but he's back over that ridge line. They turn around on the rotate. And Titan stay up with 2, losing a player earlier as well. Leaves them at 2 alive.
Yeah, Titan's still been quite strong, but losing a little bit of their umph here towards the end of the day. I can't say they haven't still played very well, though. And I mean, at this point in the stage of tournaments at this end of the year, where you're having so many fantastic teams joining you, it is unlikely you can be dominant every single match. So you just pick up the points where you can. Influence Chemin, on the other hand, have a very, very good consistent streak here today at 61 points with 4 players alive as well. One of the only teams with 4 players alive in the top bracket of contenders. Buriram 42 points with 3. Nigma Galaxy with 56 with only 2 players. And Titans obviously tied with 56 down to 2 players. So right now, Influence Chemin themselves up to kind of get themselves apart from that pack and start being the leader, the sprinters.
Well, I mean, when you add on the eliminations, though, that Titan have got this game, it's 61 to 60 right now in that second place. So it is really quite. Still, as you say, there is a leader, but it is very much all to play for, and it's still early days on the week.
Absolutely. I mean, getting ahead now, though, with the 4 players and getting a few eliminations towards the end, which they're more than likely going to pick up, Influence Chemin could really set themselves apart from these front runners, is what I was trying to say, by the end of today, which would be really nice coming into tomorrow, where you're not really battling for your life every single day and the pressure's not always 100% on. I8, though, lose 1 player to R8. Across the road here. Difficult crossing, honestly. It's kind of this relies a lot on the circle to come your way for R8. But getting first knock and a lot of damage onto one of those players before he got res does give them time to maybe think about what kind of decisions they have to make next.
Next circle will be coming in soon, and as you said, that shift is going to force R8 to make a difficult decision, make a difficult rotate. Again, it goes on to these central hills, though. Influence Chemin will have to regroup a little bit. They'll have to figure out how they want to play on that eastern side, but they're protected from the most part from pretty much everything going on.
This is the good thing about getting into Impala, is that these teams that are holding in the mountainside, they don't have X-ray vision, so they can't shoot through into the buildings itself. So R8 just has to make this push here, understanding that these teams up on high will be causing them more and more havoc. So they have to just move in and try and make something happen, leapfrog this position here. With IQ going down as well, this is a beautiful start for them.
I mean, Boxer chiming into this fight with shots across the way. That top floor getting cut across. DRS moving into position as well, a little bit further south of this. The nades from R8 starting to pour on through, and it's going quite well on the cross. They've managed to make it. Now they need to move through this urban environment. With DRS on their side swipe, it's going to be pretty tricky, but they can start to exert that pressure. D7 trying to burn through that door. We'll be able to break it open. Ghost wanting to hold it off, but fades away. Turns ethereal. LGD find a beautiful little shot to Prestige to snake it out. DRS against Titan. 1-for-1 on the trade out in the open. Yanti will be backed off, Sky only. Not going to get the knocks just yet. Takes a little lick of damage in response as well. Ooh, very, very low. Getting knocked on that ridgeline is super dangerous. It pops your back up just that little bit, and if you're too far forwards, that's an easy flush.
Yeah, with the 3 players they're rocking with, it's unlikely that you're going to see them be able to get a res off if one of the players on the off angle, specifically my name, goes down. That's it, essentially. Box taking a fair few players from R8. SK on 4 into LGD, so they have a lot of eyes on them currently, Jump.
Oh, luckily able to land that final shot, which should allow the res for Tiger. For Buriram to keep 3 of them alive. DRS, though, can use that opportunity to move through or skate underneath and around. These hills proving to be brutal. Pop about to come through for the circle.
He is here. Still just watching out. I mean, when we get to that final circle, though, if you're on the top of this mountain and so we can get underneath, then you do have a problematic turn of events where you will have to come down, and dropping off that mountain without a vehicle is very difficult. And I'm not sure if LGD of Buriram have set up that beforehand. Box still trying to eliminate as many sightlines as possible from LGD. CCC has been an absolute powerhouse on this top side with some very nutty shots.
Circle did come through very, very central. And again, it's right on towards Buriram. It's right on towards LGD on their side of the mountain. And Influence Chemin, they've just been chilling on the east side, but now they're going to have to make that decision. Do they push in and try and take LGD's position, or do they try and hide that out yet again?
Titan, fatigue in the shack. Team Queso are unable to get close with oversight coming through from Buriram at the moment. A little bit rough. Now Influence Chemin looking to start making their way into the circle, moving up towards where LGD are playing. Because they have to watch both angles from Box as well as Influence Chemin, their attention is slightly split. When the three players are able to hold as a 2-2 with a refrag potential on either side.
Looks like LGD are taking shots from Box, and Influence Chemin have tried to move up to it. Look at that high ground aggression. Box cannot see Influence Chemin, and LGD could be caught in that pincer there. Buriram holding off the players trying to move in from the southeast side. Team Queso, LGD take a knock, actually coming in from Team Queso, who are on the backside of that hill. They are battling off against everybody. Buriram taking shots over towards Influence Chemin. There's about 4 people involved in this fight, Blank.
Yeah, for Buriram at the moment, it's very difficult for these guys to peek out for even a second. Sky's going to look to pick up Teak, who's inside the shack, and Influence Chemin have played this pretty marvelously, getting around a lot of these sight lines by just edging their way up towards rock faces. DRS looking over towards emTek Storm at the moment. 2 players in there, but it's Buriram again. Tiger has eyes on. Very difficult to play with this one with 2 teams up on the top of this mountain. Just playing hand in hand, essentially.
Nade, oh, it's just a little bit too short there. Doesn't quite get what you're looking for off the target there, but there's a re-knock and Delta's out in the blue. Will full DRS, very, very low. You can pick up that flush. That's very, very nice. Add that point to the tally for Buriram. 4 eliminations now on the game. As things start to close themselves down, and only Buriram in the dead center. Look at that. Playing ring around my name.
Box edging their way up with the vehicles, but now taking huge damage there from LGD. Not allowing to get any further into this one. Overhand toss with a grenade. 5 there for them. LGD were certainly thinking ahead here. Knew they would have to hold on to nades for when these players started to get too close, and they'd have to go for the full squad wipe. So a well-placed nade from YZZ could be the end of Box Gaming.
Oh, wasn't quite long enough there. Unfortunately bounced, but if Box pushed too far, that might obble in. 1 knock is good. Looks for a second as well over the ridgeline. Takes a little bit of damage. Half HP, has first aid. Will be looking to pop 1. 1 HE left in the pocket. 3 on the back for Suki as well. Scry rolls up with the party bus, keeping Box with some cover on their side as well. That's going to allow Trismay to get back up as Scry can cower behind it as the nades continue to roll through. Bensu allowed to cross because the nade was in hand. Knocked, but makes it. Stays alive, and Box can keep themselves up at 4. There's threats from the other side, though, as Influence Chemin are there. So are Buriram, as YZ steps up for the spray over towards Tiger. Gets a lot of damage, but forced to back off and go for the reload. More worried about Box. Doesn't have any more nades left in the back pocket. Spots Trismay, spots Bensu. Bensu the one to go down, and Box at 3 active.
And they lock them against the cliff face here, so there's no way that they can start to challenge out against LGD. And Buriram at the moment, Tiger was so unsure where he was getting shot from, so LGD really haven't shown their hands on this side of the map for a long, long while. I think that's nades coming from Influence Chemin at the moment. Scry trying to keep Nigma Galaxy at bay. It will be slightly difficult, but finds at least 1.
Lord down and flushed. Drop shot for a second, not good. Scry will fall, and now free standing tall for Nigma Galaxy. LGD from the top will be looking down on this fight. Box only have 1 player left. It's Break playing on the outside, not under the sight lines of LGD right now. Tiger, challenge out yet again, getting sprayed and peppered and forced back off the angle once more. Influence Chemin struggling on that eastern side in the meantime, as LGD drop down to try and play together. It's my name to close out Team Queso.
Yeah, 2 knocks on Influence Chemin at the moment. And they thought this game would not be lasting this long or be able to allow LGD so much control this entire time. trying to get players back up on their feet, but it is unlikely. emTek Tarman will go down as well. And currently LGD on a bit of a streak here.
This is the final zone closing. Blank, we've got 7 teams. This is crazy. The amount of cover that this mountain has been affording is incredible. Buriram, LGD reaping those rewards. Buriram really with the dominant position though. It's all about being central for this next one. It looks like LGD took that initiative.
I mean, this is going to be going all the way to the limit here, John. Trismay spotted. Last player from box down to 6 teams, only 10 players. 5 teams now, 2 per team.
Shots
Crazy
over towards
stuff.
Freak. Will take down another. 4 teams remain now. They're falling fast. It is the final zone after all. Influence Chemin step up, rebuffed immediately. YZ with the close range engagement goes well. Koyovsky falls. The second to go for Influence Chemin, and only 1 player now remains for them. Around the ground will fall as well. LGD, Buriram, they stayed at the top, and Buriram are getting forced out, playing into the blue. Tiger is there the last. Suki drops out. Tiger maybe looks for a challenge, but it is LGD to take home that chicken dinner. A much needed reprieve from the bottom of the tables. It's the chicken dinner for LGD.
Honestly, really difficult game there for LGD, and managing to make that one happen is quite astonishingly impressive because they had to hold out as just 3 players. Not only box, they were holding out RA and I8, and then also keeping Influence Chemin at bay, who always had their eyes on dismounting the guys from LGD throughout that entire game. And, you know, Max definitely said, I'm not going to joke around now because it is quite serious, but Max was always saying, you know, when they're on Miramar, they do have a really, really good set of moves.